Hello and welcome to LegalShield's national webinar for professional sellers. My name is Brandon Clark. I'm the Market General Manager for LegalShield's Eastern region with our Corporate Business Solutions team. I have the distinct honor of introducing our host and speaker for today, Mr. Mike Riches out of Dallas, Texas. He's been with LegalShield for 17 years, serving in various leadership capacities. He's experienced tremendous personal success in marketing our products as voluntary benefits to companies far and wide, and has now trained literally thousands of our associates to succeed in this space. So without any further ado, Mr. Mike Riches, please take it away.
Well, thank you very much, and happy Friday to everyone out there. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join our webinar here today. And I just want you to know I'm really excited to share this information with you about our company LegalShield and really about this very unique opportunity that we've got right now for those with a professional background. And as you can see, that's going to be our agenda here. We'll talk about our company and who we are, and then I'm going to share with you some information on our unique suite of products. And really, our products have always been at the heart of who we are as a company. So I want to take just a few minutes and discuss the need for those products in today's marketplace. And then I'm really excited to get into this compensation breakdown. That's where I'm going to explain the details of this program that we've just rolled out for those with a professional background, and how you can actually start at a commission level that's over 3 times higher than most of our associates start out at. And I'll explain all the details, and of course we'll talk about next steps should we choose to move forward. As far as our company goes, we've been in business now since 1972, and I'll tell you, it's not often that you're going to find a company that's been around for almost 50 years and yet still presents such a ground floor opportunity. And that's exactly what we have here at LegalShield. The vast majority of Americans, they're not familiar with our company, but they're not even familiar with the concept of a legal plan. And that just leaves the window of opportunity wide open for you and me. Our annual revenue right now is over $400 million a year. LegalShield is really the pioneer of legal service plans in North America. We were the first company to really do anything of this nature. And today we protect over 4 million lives across the United States and Canada. Much of that business comes from our Business Solutions division, which is a dedicated division of LegalShield that serves over 30,000 employer groups, and as you can see, there are over 48,000 small businesses. Now, I want to take you back to 2003. That was the year that we decided to introduce identity theft protection as a product that we are going to offer. Our focus up to that point had been on our flagship product, our legal plan, but back in 2003, we saw the identity theft protection industry as a massive opportunity. Now, I'm not sure that we knew back then just how big this crime was going to be. Of course, today it's the #1 crime in America. There are more victims of identity theft than any other crime in our country. Just last year, we had over 16 million victims of identity theft. When you divide that by 365 days, that breaks down to over 45,000 victims every day. Let me just share with you a couple of things that have changed about identity theft since we started offering this identity theft protection back in 2003. First of all, back then, if someone was a victim of identity theft, it was maybe because they forgot to shred something and someone went through their trash can and pulled out a statement or a bill or something, and that had that person's sensitive information on it, and they used that information to steal their identity. And I guess at that local element of identity theft, it'll always exist at some level, but today so many people are becoming victims of identity theft, and they didn't do anything wrong. It's really no fault of their own, and of course that has to do with these data breaches that we're seeing. And I know I don't have to explain this to you. I'm sure all of us have seen this over and over in the news, all of these companies that are being breached. Here are just a few recent examples. Capital One just recently announced this breach that impacted over 100 million people. Marriott, of course, a few months ago, over 500 million people. And the Equifax data breach, that was one of the most severe data breaches in history, 147 million people. What made that breach so severe, it was obviously a lot of people, but it was the information that was stolen. On that Equifax breach, it was everything: names, social security numbers, dates of birth, some driver's license numbers. I mean, it was really everything that a criminal would need to steal someone's identity. And the list goes on and on. There are thousands of companies that have been breached, big and small, really from all kinds of industries. And the problem with these data breaches is that people are becoming victims of identity theft. And you can see that there on the screen. 1 in 4 Americans affected by a data breach becomes a victim of identity theft. And of course, that's what's fueling this #1 crime in America. Another thing that has drastically changed since we first started offering identity theft protection is that back then, again, that was 2003, identity theft was almost entirely financial. It was almost always related to credit cards and bank accounts, somebody opening up a new line of credit, something like that. Today, we are regularly seeing several other types of identity theft. And of course, financial identity theft is still a huge problem, but these other types of the crime are growing really at alarming rates. Take, for example, criminal identity theft. That's where someone steals your identity, and they may or may not do anything financially, but what they do is commit a crime in your name. I recently met with an HR director of a company, and she told me how she was the victim of criminal identity theft. She was actually arrested for a crime that she didn't commit. Law enforcement came to her home, arrested her. She ended up spending 2 nights in jail before they could finally prove that she was not the person that they were looking for. And I mean, what a disaster. But that's the problem with any of these types of identity theft. It's the only crime in America where you're guilty until proven innocent. And the other major issue for victims is that when you get into these other types of identity theft, it becomes even more of a nightmare to try to clean up the mess. I mean, think of those people who are victims of employment identity theft, where someone's using their social to get a job, and now the victim is dealing with the IRS because their tax records are all messed up. Or someone who's a victim of medical identity theft, where someone gets medical treatment in their name, and now their medical records are all different. These other types of identity theft, they just take a lot longer on average to clean up, and the negative impact on a victim is so much greater as well. I mean, look, my credit score is important, right? Don't get me wrong. But if tonight at midnight the SWAT team breaks in my house, and it's because I'm a victim of criminal identity theft, I've got a warrant issued for my arrest, and I sit up in bed, I look down up, and there are lots of these little red dots on my chest, I'm not going to look at my wife and say, honey, I hope my credit score's okay. I mean, obviously, these other types of identity theft, these are major, major problems. And people deserve a solution that's going to help with all types of this crime. And we are very proud of the solution that we provide. Our product is called LegalShield, and it is, simply put, the most comprehensive identity theft plan in the market today. And you can see some of the key components of what LegalShield provides for a family. I like that LegalShield provides peace of mind before, during, and after someone is a victim. And we do that by providing features like unlimited consultation and guidance. So a member can call and speak to a licensed investigator, not just an expert or a specialist, but an actual licensed investigator anytime that they have a question. It could be about potential fraud or even just their credit. They might be wanting to see how they could raise their credit score, for example. In addition to that consultation, we also provide real-time monitoring of what matters most. And you can see that's certainly going to include credit monitoring, and we put score updates with that as well. Again, your credit and your credit score are important, so that should be monitored. But credit monitoring in and of itself is never a total solution. That's what a lot of these companies who have been breached, they've had these data breaches, they'll turn around and offer free credit monitoring for several years. But the problem is that only monitors your credit. Think of all those other types of identity theft, and one thing that really sets LegalShield apart from other services in this industry is their privacy and security monitoring, which provides really over 20 layers of monitoring, from things like court records. So if someone does commit a crime in your name and you've got a warrant issued for your arrest, you can find that out proactively. LegalShield will monitor as much of your sensitive information as you'd like to see if maybe that's being bought, sold, or traded on the dark web. I mean, it's absolutely the most robust monitoring that I've ever seen. And with all of this monitoring, if they detect anything suspicious, then you'll be notified immediately via the LegalShield mobile app. Of course, the crowning feature of LegalShield is what we're most proud of, and that's the full-service identity restoration. And what that means is if a member becomes a victim of identity theft, then again, they'll have a licensed investigator assigned to their case, and that investigator will actually restore that member's identity. They'll clean up the mess, on the member's behalf. And I want to be clear here. These are licensed investigators, and they don't just coach that member on the phone on what they need to do to clean up the mess. They actually do the work for them. So they make all the phone calls, they do all the legwork, they do the paperwork, they perform that restoration so that the member has the peace of mind of knowing that they don't ever have to worry about this number one crime in America, identity theft. They've got the best of the best backing them up. Now, when it comes to coverage for this product, we have a couple of different options. We have the family plan that would cover the member, their spouse, or significant other, and then up to 10 minor dependents up to the age of 18. And when we take this into a business and we offer it as a voluntary benefit for those employer groups, we'll actually extend that restoration coverage for their kids up to the age of 25, which I think is a pretty great feature. And then we also have the individual option that would cover just that member himself or herself. So again, we're really proud to be able to say that we offer the most comprehensive identity theft protection plan available in the market today. And look, as you can imagine, we've seen a lot of growth over the last few years as identity theft has just become a nightmare for American families. We've been able to really offer a total solution. And that's one of the reasons that the value of our company has doubled over the last 5 years. People are seeing the need for this solution right now more than ever before. Of course, we think that there's a perfect marriage between our identity theft plan, LegalShield, and our flagship product, LegalShield, especially when we offer these products, again, as voluntary benefits for employees of our client companies. Now, some people might hear the term legal plan and wonder, how could they benefit from something like that? And you can see here, these are just some of the common misconceptions that people have about the legal system. They might think, I can figure out the legal system by myself. I mean, I've got Google, right? Everything on the internet is true. So I always say good luck with that. But some people might think that the only people who use attorneys are those who get in trouble. Or maybe they think, I'm an honest person. Why would I ever need legal help? Well, the reality is all of us deal with situations where having the counsel or assistance of an attorney could really be very helpful. I mean, think about someone who gets overcharged for a repair. Or maybe they have a dispute with a warranty company or even a utility or a cell phone company. Or maybe they have a problem with their homeowners association. Or maybe somebody is looking at doing some estate planning, like getting a will done for their family. Maybe they just have a question about what their rights are in a given situation. And look, I don't think most people would look at those types of situations as legal emergencies. But the reality is, if you had an attorney when you were dealing with something like that, you'd be a lot better off. And again, we all deal with these types of things. So the question is, why don't people use attorneys more? Why do they try to figure out the legal system by themselves, which, again, is just never a good idea? But the reason is very simple, and it's just that using an attorney is expensive. The average cost of an attorney in the United States is $284 per hour. And frankly, most people are just not able to afford that, at least not on a regular basis, for everyday situations. So what LegalShield does is very simple. We make access to the legal system affordable. For less than $1 a day, we give North American families access to some of the very best law firms in their area. And look, make no mistake about it here, we are disrupting an industry. Just like Netflix changed the way that people watch movies, just like Uber and Lyft changed the transportation industry, we are changing the way that legal services are delivered. And we're making attorneys affordable, we're making them accountable, we're making them responsive, and that is exactly why we have experienced such record growth. Let me just show you a few of the things that a LegalShield membership provides. By far the most commonly used feature of our legal plan is this personal legal advice. And what that means is any time that a member has any kind of legal question, and again, it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about their taxes. It could be about a real estate transaction. Maybe they're buying a home or selling a home, or maybe they're renting somewhere and they've got a landlord issue. Maybe they're the landlord, they have a tenant issue. But whatever it is, they have a question about estate planning or a contractor dispute. It doesn't really matter what the legal question is. If they have a question, then our members can just pick up the phone and speak to a qualified attorney. An attorney who specializes in that area of law where they have a question. And it's never a paralegal, it's never a legal secretary, it's always an attorney that they speak to. And here's the cool part, it's unlimited. I mean, they can literally call as many times as they want, they can talk for as long as they want, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a 4 to 5 minute conversation or a 45-minute conversation, it's covered 100% under their legal plan. The joke we always tell is even if someone is just legally lonely, I mean, that's fine. They can use it for that. They can just call and talk to an attorney. But the reality is our members have that access, and it's an incredible part of our plan. Now, in addition to getting advice, the law firm can also write letters on our members' behalf as well. And look, this is really great. If a member is in a situation where they're not being treated fairly, I mentioned a few of those earlier, like a warranty issue or a repair that didn't go right, or any situation where they just need a little extra legal muscle. And that's exactly what a letter from their law firm can provide. Listen, I've used that several times myself, and let me just tell you, it's amazing the difference that a letter from an attorney can make in getting you results. People just treat you differently when they know that you have an attorney. Our law firms can also help our members if they're going to sign a contract. They'll review those contracts and documents up to 15 pages at no charge, really just to make sure that it's in the member's best interest before they sign and commit to something. We also provide assistance for IRS audits and even trial defense. If one of our members or the member's spouse or significant other is named in a lawsuit, then they've got protection under their LegalShield membership for that as well. A part of the plan that a lot of people like is if they receive a moving traffic violation, like a speeding ticket, for example, then their law firm will provide them a defense. And it's actually pretty cool. We've got this app, and all the member does is just take a picture of the ticket with the app and then hit submit. Then that goes directly to their provider law firm, and they'll have an attorney in that jurisdiction go defend them. And these attorneys are really good at getting these tickets reduced so they don't go on the member's record, which is really nice because it doesn't affect their auto insurance if they can keep it off their record. And listen, that's one thing that I think everyone can agree on. We already pay too much for our auto insurance, so LegalShield can really save a family some serious money with just this one feature. Think about people that have teenage drivers or even a spouse who drives like a teenager. It's just a great part of the plan. And one great thing about LegalShield is we have over 4,000 attorneys across the United States and Canada that protect our members. So really, you're covered everywhere you go. It's just so powerful and reassuring to know that we have that kind of protection. Of course, one of the most important features of this legal plan is the last will and testament that our members receive. Listen, having an updated will is one of the most important things that someone can do for their family. And yet, right now, over 70% of Americans do not have an updated last will and testament. Well, as a LegalShield member, they can get a full comprehensive will, and that includes the last will and testament, but also the living will, the healthcare power of attorney. I mean, it's the exact same will that you would typically have to spend $1,200 to $1,500 to have an attorney write. And LegalShield members can get that done by one of the best estate attorneys in their state at absolutely no additional cost. And the cool part is there's not even a waiting period, so they can do that as soon as they sign up, which really provides instant value for so many people. And completing that will is as easy as filling out a questionnaire on the app. Now, in addition to all those features, our members also have 24-hour emergency access. So if they're in a car accident, or maybe they're a victim of identity theft and they're being arrested for a crime in the middle of the night that they didn't commit, in an emergency like that, they're going to have 24-hour access to their provider law firm, which I'm going to tell you, there's some wealthy people that can afford $284 an hour, but they don't have 24-hour access to their attorneys. That's a pretty cool deal for LegalShield members. And then, of course, they also receive a 25% discount on anything that's not covered 100% under their plan. So things like bankruptcy or contested divorce or DUI would be covered at that discounted rate. Now, this LegalShield membership would cover the member's spouse or significant other, and any children up to the age of 26, as long as they're living at home and have never been married, or if they're a full-time college student, no matter where they live. And of course, physically and mentally disabled children living at home are covered up to any age. Now, the pricing of these plans, especially in a group, really makes these exceptional offerings. I mean, really, the non-group pricing that you see here on the left is incredible. I mean, the value of having access to one of the best law firms in your state, the value of having premium identity theft coverage for an entire family, to be able to have that for $25 a month for each of those plans, I mean, that's an incredible deal. But when we take these plans into a company, and we offer them as voluntary employee benefits, then you can see the pricing on the right would kick in at that point, and all of a sudden someone's able to get that LegalShield membership for only $23.95. And then look at the Family ID Shield, typically $24.95 outside of a group, and yet a member of a group can get that for only $18.95. And the biggest discount is when you bundle those two together. For a family, that coverage is typically $49.90 a month, but in a group, it's only $38.90, which comes out to just $8.98 a week if that employee is paid weekly. And that's what would come out of their check. So, I mean, really, it's just an exceptional deal. I mean, it's so affordable. No wonder we're seeing such incredible sign-up percentages. And that's really what I want to get into now is why do these plans make such great employee benefits? Why would you and I want to offer them to employees of a company? And of course, that high participation, that's a big deal. I mean, right now we're seeing 50 to 70% of the employees that we get in front of electing to enroll in the plan. And that's without employer contribution. So the employees are absorbing 100% of that cost. But again, if they're paid weekly, it's only $8.98 a week out of their check. So it's not a huge financial decision for people to make. Not only are we seeing high participation, but the utilization of these plans is high as well. We want our members using their membership. Another great feature of ID Shield and LegalShield is that these benefits are portable. So if an employee signs up at the group rate and then leaves that company, they can take it with them and they can keep it at that group rate. And you can also see that these plans are simple to administer. I mean, that's one of the things that we hear from our HR and payroll professionals time and time again. They say this is the easiest benefit that we've ever administered. There are no claim forms, no contracts on the plan. I mean, really, it's a pretty simple enrollment process. We also have flexible enrollment options. So if a company does electronic enrollment, for example, with their benefits, we can do that. We do it all the time. If a company prefers paper enrollment or even web enrollment, that's fine as well. I mean, we're really flexible when it comes to enrolling employees. And one great thing about offering these plans as voluntary benefits is that they can help the company in addition to helping the employees. So voluntary benefits in general can help attract and retain quality employees, and certainly LegalShield and ID Shield, those products do that. But when you think about employees who deal with legal issues, or certainly identity theft issues, those can really affect their productivity at work. I mean, all of a sudden they start taking more time off, or they're distracted and off task while they're at work. Not to mention the stress can just make them more irritable, and then that affects their coworkers as well. So we say it doesn't take long for a personal problem to become a personnel problem. And that is certainly the case with legal and identity theft issues. Well, our plans can obviously help relieve a large part of that stress. And so it actually helps the employees be more productive at work. And of course, higher productivity has a positive impact on the bottom line of the company. So we actually help employees while helping the employer, all at no direct cost to the company. I mean, do you see why businesses like LegalShield? I mean, really, from a business owner standpoint, these plans just make all the sense in the world. So you might ask what kind of businesses are currently offering these benefits. And what you see here is not an all-inclusive list by any means, but what we want to show is that we've got clients from a very wide range of industries, from government organizations to schools, healthcare facilities, law enforcement agencies, manufacturing companies, trucking companies, certainly financial organizations like banks and credit unions, real estate and mortgage companies, construction, automotive, utilities. I mean, sometimes people ask me, what are the best companies to approach? And my answer is the kind with employees. I mean, it's really pretty incredible. Whether you're talking to an executive of a company or a blue-collar employee, they're going to see something in these plans that's attractive to them. And again, that's one reason why we've got such high participation in our group clients. Now, let's talk about what this would look like for you and I to offer these plans. And as far as compensation is concerned, there are really 4 different ways to earn money marketing LegalShield and ID Shield. The first is just the commissions that we receive, and I'll show you that commission plan in a bit. One of my favorite aspects of this compensation plan is the residual income. So when we sell a membership, as long as that member stays active, we continue to earn a residual every year for the life of the membership. Now, when I first got started, I was pretty young, so I I mean, residuals sounded good, but it wasn't something that I really focused on. I was more thinking about the money that I was going to earn up front when I sold the membership. But I'm going to tell you, the older that I get, and frankly, the more residual income that I receive, the more I'm telling you, it is incredible to get residual income. I can see why some people who have earned residual income in the past, they say they'll never do anything that does not pay residuals. And one cool thing about LegalShield is our associates are 100% vested from day one to receive those residuals. Now you can see here we also have the opportunity to earn overrides if we build a team and they're producing. You and I can get an override from that production. And then, of course, LegalShield has an incredible bonus and incentive program as well. In fact, we've got associates who are earning tens of thousands of dollars in bonus income every year. And that's in addition to their regular commissions. Now, typically when someone starts as an associate with LegalShield, if they were to sell that $38.90 product, which again, that's the group rate for a family to have both the legal and the identity theft plan, if they were to sell one of those $38.90 plans, they would typically make a little over $50 in commission for that membership. And then by continuing to produce, they'd be able to advance through our compensation plan. And every time that they would advance, then they would earn more for that same membership. Most of our associates would also have to pay a $99 startup fee to get appointed with the company as well. But what we're doing right now, again, for a limited time, is for those who have a professional background. And we're looking for at least 5 years of professional experience. That could be sales or executive experience, even HR or financial experience. We're actually starting these individuals that qualify under the special program at our director level. So on that same $38.90 plan, instead of making a little over $50, they're actually making $161 per sale. And in addition, we're waiving the startup fee that we typically charge. So there's no startup fee. And these professionals are eligible for our bonuses and incentives as well. So let me just give you an example of what that would look like if you're at the director commission level, which again, that's where we're starting professionals. If you go into a company that has 50 employees and you present to those employees, and let's say of those 50, 25 choose to enroll in the LegalShield and the ID Shield benefits. Well, here's what that would look like for you at the director commission level. Again, your commission is $161.43, and that's per plan. So for 25 plans, the total commission would be $4,035.75. Now, listen, that's not bad if someone was just part-time and they did that once a month. But for those who are full-time, think about doing that 3, 4, 5 times a month. And this is just an example for a smaller company. That's only 25 people signing up. Again, you're paid for every employee that signs up. So it's not per presentation or per group. It's per employee. And really what we're looking for are individuals who will go out, meet with businesses, present to their employees, and write between 50 and 100 plans a month. And at this director commission level, that could produce a really solid 6-figure income. Now, that's not a quota. We don't have any sales quotas, but it's also not a cap. I mean, if you look at our top producers are writing way over 100 plans a month. And that's one thing that is really attractive to so many of our producers is that there is no cap on what we earn. A lot of our producers have come out of a corporate background where they were always limited on how much they could make. And that's one thing that they love about LegalShield is that there's just no limit on production. You can write as much business as you want. And it's interesting, with so many companies, they look at commissions as an expense. But with LegalShield, the way they see it is if our associates are making more money, then the company's making more money. So, of course, they want to pay out as much as they can. So, again, no limits on production. Here are just a few more advantages of being a LegalShield associate. Commissions are paid every day, 7 days a week. So that leads to a very quick turnaround of commissions. If you write a group this morning, then you can submit that business online, and in some cases, that business will pay out commissions the same day. Sometimes it's the next day, but it's usually 24 to 48 hours from the time that those members are active, which is really just a quick turnaround on those commissions. Another thing that's very attractive to so many of our associates is that we've got a world-class B2B training program, and that includes online training. We've got live classes that are happening around North America on a regular basis. We do regular live web training and conference call training as well. And we have an exceptional field training program, so you can partner up with someone in your area that has experience in offering these plans and leverage their experience and their expertise to be able to help you write your first few groups. And finally, another great part about being a LegalShield associate is that there are no sales territories. So if you live on the East Coast and you know somebody that owns a company on the West Coast, you can absolutely go write that company. And of course, I mentioned earlier, no sales quotas as well. So in closing, let me just review here this program that we've got available from right now through December 31st for professionals. And again, what we would look for, number one, is a resume that shows a minimum of 5 years professional experience. And again, that could be sales, executive leadership, HR, financial planning. Those are just some examples. But we'd like to see that on a resume. And then we'd also ask for 2 professional references with contact information as well. So as far as next steps, we'll ask you to get back with the person who invited you on this webinar and provide them with these documents. And then they'll also have you complete an associate application, and then they can submit all of that documentation for review. And you'll know within a couple of days if you've been approved for this program. So again, I just want to thank you for taking some time today to view this webinar. I hope that the information has been helpful. I hope that we can see you on board soon with us here at LegalShield. We're certainly looking forward to some incredible results coming out of this program. From all of us here at LegalShield Business Solutions, we wish you the very best.